Fluoride is a huge issue with water. I'm sure, Maria, you probably get a lot of questions about this in your practice, right?
Yeah, and Glenn Colello just hosted an event last night about fluoride and how damaging it is. And a lot of people don't know that. And I used to be one of those people too. It's like there's fluoride in your toothpaste. It must be okay.
Right,
On
right.
it.
Oh gosh, it's shocking. And there's
Yeah.
fascinating stuff out there. You can YouTube about fluoride.
Hmm.
It's really troublesome what's going on with fluoride. And it's
Hmm.
one of those things where I would say, well, it must be all right because, the ADA recommends it. And when you really start looking more closely at what they recommend, it says right on your toothpaste
Hmm.
container that like, look at the swipe of toothpaste on that brush. That's a toxic amount of fluoride right there.
Hmm.
That you're
It's
supposed to have
poison.
a pea-sized amount of toothpaste. First of all, let me just say at the beginning, you should have no fluoride in your toothpaste.
Hmm.
I don't agree with that at all. But
Hmm.
if you do, if there's fluoride in that toothpaste, that child has a toxic amount of toothpaste on their brush. And if they don't have a great control of their oral reflexes, which have you met a kid? Have you seen them eat? I mean, they're not known for
Hmm.
being like really orally competent. They're swallowing a huge amount of that. It says right on the toothpaste, you are not supposed to swallow fluoride.
Yeah.
It's
And
dangerous for you.
there's a number for the poison control center on the back of it too, right?
Right,
If
that's
you
exactly
swallow too
right.
much of it, yeah.
Right. It goes
Should tell
in
you
your
something.
mouth. This just shocks me. I just think,
Hmm.
what have we done to ourselves, people? This is going in your mouth and in
Hmm.
your children. You're not supposed to give fluoride to a child under 2,
Hmm.
but yet here we are doing it all the time.
Well, now they have
Um,
fluoridated nursery water, right?
oh,
Which is
it's my next slide. I'm so glad you said
uh,
that.
right on
It
cue.
shocks me. They show these little
Yeah,
infants with
yeah,
fluoridated bottled water, and
yeah, yeah.
what is going on?
Uh,
And where are these regulatory agencies then? They should be pulling those things
uh,
off the shelf. I'm getting
mm,
excited. I'm working up a
uh,
sweat.
good.
So fluoride, it's a known neurotoxic. It's a known carcinogen. It's known to break down your bones, osteoclastic. It
Hmm.
has been proven to do damage to your gastric tissue in certain concentrations. It starts breaking down your gastric tissue. I know a lot of these listeners are aware of something called leaky gut. This is a major contributor to leaky gut. And it's conveniently added to bottled water for daily dosing. So
Hmm.
it's not only in your toothpaste, which is shocking and scary, and you should always buy unfluoridated toothpaste, but it's in your drinking water. And most municipalities add it. They are not required to, so you have to check with your municipality. I'm going to show you a slide now. We're going to get into that. Oh, I like this because people don't believe me. I find that people think I'm crazy. When you speak the truth, people tend to, they're like, oh, please, well, the government would never allow that. This
Right.
information is in there in abundance. This is a fabulous story on, rather, research on fluoride. You can buy this. It's $56. If you really don't believe me, go ahead, buy the book. You can read online most of the excerpts from this about the studies they did. This is a beautiful meta analysis of the effects of fluoride. And if you look on the left side, you can see it talks about what's the effect on your teeth, fluorosis in your bones, reproductive and developmental. It goes on into neurocognitive, which I've pulled up here, endocrine effects. None of them are good. This is not a book about, yeah, fluoride, absolutely put it in vitamins, although they do that too.
Right.
It's incredibly bad for you. And this particular one, I thought most people are interested in this in their kids. The neurotoxic effects, it shows a remarkable reduction in IQ tests in counties where they have, and they control for everything else, for iodine and food and socioeconomics, and controlling for all of those other variables. They realize that fluoride alone causes a marked reduction in IQ. And that's really challenging. There it
Hmm.
is for you,
Hmm.
Maria.
Yep. Yep.
Nursery water. Look, fluoride added. Woo!
In plastic
Dannon,
bottles.
fluoride. Yeah, and in plastic bottles. What could be better? You should probably nuke them for a few minutes to warm them up.
Stick them in the microwave.
Right. Ah! And then this slide down here shows you all the major bottled water companies and the fluoride contents in them. I think it's important to understand that fluoride, if you go to the dentist with a pediatric dentist and they give you a fluoride treatment, if you've ever
Hmm.
done that, they apply it very, very carefully to your little teeth, with a little tiny brush, one by one. And then they tell you, they put a sticker right on your chest that says nothing to eat or drink for 30 minutes.
Mm.
And they do that because the only way that fluoride works to prevent cavities if it's is if it is in direct contact with your teeth for 30 minutes. and you are not meant to swallow it because it is toxic. So
Mm-hmm.
you're also supposed to take that, then rinse it and spit out at the end of that. But if that is true, and dentists know that you need to be in contact with fluoride for 30 minutes to have cavity prevention, why are we drinking it? I mean, who spends
Right.
30 minutes with a mouthful of water? That doesn't
Right.
make any sense to me.
If you really want to know about it, there's a really good book called The Fluoride Deception, and it talks about
Mm,
how we were all duped into thinking that fluoride in our water is a good thing. And it was, I think it was back in the 1940s, 1930s. No, I think it was the 40s. And it was the father of spin. I forget his name, but it was basically a spin job on the American public. So go read it
mm-hmm.
and educate yourself.
Which is shocking. Oftentimes people, I'm sure you get this too, Maria, people sort of think you're just a conspiracy theorist and you think everybody's out to get us and you're paranoid. And I think it's not, if you're paying attention and you're not outraged, then you're not paying attention. Like
Right. Right.
the information is out there. That's true about dairy and how the
Mm-hmm.
dairy industry made milk a central part. I mean, there's so many examples of that, and fluoride is another good one. And people really need to get educated about how bad it is.